forced the door open and came in.
Ladies and gentlemen, waiting since 57.
It's a long time to wait.
It's a long time to wait, dude. I've had people say to me, they're like, well, what if the Lions win the Super Bowl? Are you going to have to change the name of the podcast? And I don't think so. And I don't think so for a couple of reasons, maybe. One, it still resonates. And two, maybe it'll just never happen.
Right. And we didn't really specify a tense. Like, we had been waiting since 57.
Sure. Yeah.
We've got it now. It doesn't change the fact that there was, 70 years or 68 years worth of waiting to happen leading up to it. It doesn't erase it. We don't become one of those, like, we're not the Chiefs at that point,
Well, I try to pride myself of late of being an emotionally disconnected fan, like being able to experience joy when joyful things happen, but being able to shield the pain when the pain is raining down on me.
How's that working for you? Because I can tell you my experience.
How's that been for you?
There's no disconnect. It is a white knuckle roller coaster. Every week it's something new,
Dude, I was so bad during the Cowboys game. Like, typically I'm trying to uplift my 14-year-old, and this time my 14-year-old was trying to uplift me. When I remember we were driving home, so we had the Advent concert to go to with the kids' school.
Right.
And thankfully, the music director this year had the good sense to make the thing short and sweet. Because let's face the facts. I mean, how long you going to be there watching it? Mm-hmm. You see your kids do your thing, you leave. So anyways, we're leaving. I get the game going. I have it plugged in the car, so we're listening to the audio. Isaac's listening to or watching the game. And I hear him go, "Oh, safety." And this is typically not me, but I'm like, dude, they're calling it back. I didn't see the play. I heard the replay.
Pathetic.
And I'm like, dude, they're calling it back. This happens every year when they play the Cowboys. Some insane play happens. Some insane call happens. And but I was miserable like that entire game. And it's not fun. And I don't know why I was so unhinged. But I was certainly unhinged.
Oh, yeah, because coming into this game after last game and after all of the mess, and we got to do a little bit of house cleaning from Thanksgiving.
Yes,
there is some Thanksgiving leftovers sitting in the fridge that we need to throw out.
This is one of the things that you're absolutely magic with, Stu. I agree. Yeah. We apologize, folks. Last week, sometimes life gets in the way, and we had some stuff going on, and we weren't able to jump on stream last week to break that game down. But we're gonna be getting to it all.
Let's talk about the Thanksgiving game, and that will kind of set the stage as to why you felt particularly unhinged heading into the Cowboys game because it was. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna be dramatic and say it was the worst week of my life. I'm not gonna do that. That's not what this is about. We can keep a grip on our sanity. But what happened? What happened right before the game? We got the announcement that, oh boy, Frank Ragnow is coming back.
Yeah, here
Right?
it comes. Here it comes.
He's the big announcement, and they
Uh-huh.
were, and everybody's losing their minds, and fans of other teams are freaking out like, oh crap, here he comes, Pat McAfee's, holy shit, he's doing like everybody's doing their bit, like Stone Cold coming in in Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And that game happens, and I see it going bad, and I knew you weren't watching it, and so I kind of I think that was you weren't able to watch. Were you watching it live on Thanksgiving or no?
I was watching it. I wasn't. It was the Giants game that I wasn't super on top of, and I had to go back and watch. I was in and out on the Packers game. Still saw most of it. If I wasn't watching, I was listening in the background. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I try not to interact with you a lot during the game, because I kind of want to save it for this. And so I had a lot in the chamber ready to go. And maybe it's better that we did it. But I might have. Did I send you the text of Homer backing off into the bushes?
Yeah.
And during that game, I saw other people doing the same thing. Like, it's like, what's the point? What's the point?
Why am I unretiring? Why? So apparently this man he knew he quote had, like a little hamstring issue. But then it turns out apparently it's a grade 3. Grade 3 is when the hamstring detaches from the bone and then literally shoots out of the body.
Yeah.
Like it's not even associated. Yeah, they had the one of him running out of the tunnel and then him running
right back. Yeah. But I knew something bad was going to happen when the Lions put up this official message, on their social media. Look,
yeah, man.
Come on. Doesn't that something with the medical staff feels really, really weird. With Kirby Joseph could have been on IR.
Sure.
He's missed how many weeks now?
Yeah, it's been several. Off the top of my head, I think it was week 5 maybe that he's been out since, but it's been a long time. I was thinking about this, Stu, and I think it's interesting. Somebody wants to know if Dan Campbell, this is mischievously divine on Instagram, if Dan Campbell was a beer, what beer would he be? A cold one, a light one, a cold light beer in a big can. Not Foster's, because that's a big can. But maybe I don't know, like Ice House. I can see it being he's
something
a tall boy.
Has a higher than average ABV. I remember, was it like Molson Ice or something? That I remember one time drinking Molson Ices in college and getting so angry. And I chalked it up to there's something with the ice beer that just is not set right.
Yeah, a little more intensity to it there. But talking I was kicking around this medical staff thing because a lot of the stuff that I follow on the analytical side, some of that stuff spills over into the injury thing. And there's a lot of I've listened to a lot of sports doctors and things like that, and they'll kind of say the notion of just a guy being injury prone isn't necessarily a thing. Now, there's guys that have bad luck with injuries. There are guys that maybe don't take care of their body, and that's one of the reasons that you see them repeatedly on IR or repeatedly nicked up. But what escapes me is, this is the second year in a row where we are leading the league in number of games missed due to injury. And, I know they are a very physical team. I'm sure they have very physical practices. I'm sure that can be part of it. But I don't just chalk it up to, hey, this is, injury prone guys. Theoretically, they're supposed to be having some of the best medical staffs in the world. But how is it that repeatedly we're seeing these guys not be able to stay on the field? And then the weird thing is it's almost exclusively on defense. You know what I mean? Like when you think about it, and there's been some guys nicked up, but I mean, Goff, Montgomery, Gibbs. I know Laporta's injured right now, but St. Brown, J-Mo has missed time, but it's usually because of him being a bonehead. Like they've been healthy by and large at the skill position, but their secondary is always beat to hell. It seems like when they sign somebody or draft somebody, you're just giving them, the ticket that says welcome to, chronic knee injuries.
This was one of the biggest things in the offseason after last year. The off-season conversation was, how do we bolster, especially the secondary? That was the bane. That was the bane of the team. Offensively, it could do whatever it wanted.
Yep.
But what do you think? Do you think that you think Brad is bradding too hard? With because I mean they signed a couple guys this week, right?
Yeah.
I think I think that they signed
a guy named Cadiz.
No. They signed a guy. Well, no, there is that guy who. Do you see? Mollett is coming back, and then they signed a JD Vance edit.
Is that actually Pat O'Connor? That's insane. So. It's insane how much he looks like JD Vance.
It's just a JD Vance edit, And there's a million of them, and they're all great. But
he looks insanely like.
But do we need a JD Vance edit on the D line? Maybe, I don't know.
We need, it's one of those things. I will say about Brad when it comes to players and injuries, because there is a line of guys. I mean, he drafted J-Mo with a blown out knee. He's drafted some interior, Hendon Hooker, some interior linemen on the defensive side, and some of those ones work out. I mean, I would say that J-Mo is working out. He's in the process of working out. And, obviously Hendon Hooker was a miss, but I don't even mind it as far as quarterbacks go, because I think quarterbacks are such a high variance, hit rate as far as those guys go. So, Brad has drafted some of those guys and they haven't panned. I mean, is it Davenport that has been on the team what it seems like for 5 years and he's played 3 snaps?
Yeah.
And I get it. And in a way, I see when you're making free agency moves like that, you're making gambles, right? If they stay healthy, you win big. And with a scenario where you're dealing with the salary cap, you are going to have that stuff. You are going to have those times where you're rolling dice on players like that, and I don't mind it. But as you can see right here, Brad's been saying we're good for a while, and I'm gonna go off on this one a little bit on my own, Stu, because an area where we're not good is the pass rush. And we can say everything that we want to say about Aiden Hutchinson and the pressures that he gets. But when you go back and you look at that Green Bay game, I don't know if you want to talk about the quality of the pressure or whatever, but I'll tell you what, Goff's pressure seemed a hell of a lot more difficult than Love's pressures. And it's not that Goff's just a statue. And yes, he is a statue. Okay. It's not that. But I mean, you know, I'm talking about, like, do we hit the quarterback? And yes, I know this past week I think we had 5 sacks as a team, maybe. But I mean, when's the last time we saw an opposing quarterback running like hell? You know, like if you want to talk about like the impact player on this defense, the impact player on this defense is Campbell.
He's
you know what I mean? Like,
you see
he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Did you see that he joined Chris Spielman as the only Lion with it's 120 tackles and 5 sacks or something like that. Company.
I mean, he's everywhere, man. And and I'm not saying that Hutchinson's having a bad season. And you know, we talk about him being in that upper echelon of edge rusher, and so you talk about him. People, you know, they'll mention him in the range with Myles Garrett. I don't think that's a thing. Now, in all fairness to Myles Garrett is probably the pass rusher of the generation. Mm-hmm. Right. It doesn't matter what he does, who's playing around him. He's wild, and he improves the people next to them because of the havoc he's creating. There's actually a havoc analytics metric, and I don't know. I don't know what. I'm sure it's an anagram for something, but it's a way of compiling quarterback pressures, all these different metrics. And I actually looked it up somewhat recently. Lions are a little bit more middle of the pack, but I mean, but they're not creating trouble in the backfield for quarterbacks, you know. It bothers me, and that's an area where Brad has said we're good, and I get that you're trying to team build and everything like that, but they need more help.
Does an offense have to plan around the presence of an Aiden Hutchinson like they do with Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, right? Where it's like just the presence of that guy there is changing, right?
Sure. Well, and what I will say, and this is not an area that like I feel like I know a ton of stuff about. But I can say this on it, like it's obvious Hutchinson gets double teamed at a high rate. He gets double teamed a ton, and that is going to limit your effectiveness. Now, like when you talk about Myles Garrett, I think he's pushing. He wants to have 25 sacks this year. Who's to say he can't? But that D-line, that whole D-line for the Browns is awesome. And so when you have a situation like that, you can create problems for people because you can't double everybody all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel as if opposing offenses are able to say, okay, do we have to game plan? We have to game plan from the fact that we need to be getting 2 bodies on him or 1 body and chipping him every time we snap the ball, because he's only getting a handful of one-on-ones a game. And I've heard Hutchinson say it and Campbell say it. When he gets those one-on-ones, he has to win. Right. You know what I mean? If you're only getting 5 one-on-ones a game, you better be knocking somebody on their rear end. And I don't see him doing it. Now, in all fairness, you know, he's got, you know, like a slab of adamantium in his shin or whatever. And I've never come back from something like that. And so, you know, next year, is he going to look better, be more productive? I don't know. But I also think it'll be tied to what other moves or growth that they end up putting together on that defensive line, because they need to be figuring out a way to be putting more pressure on the quarterback.
This was another tweet, and I'll be honest, I don't fact check anything. So if it's on Twitter, it's real to me.
Yeah.
I saw this one. This was after the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
The second most 41 passes of 20 plus yards. And I saw somewhere else that they give up big plays like crazy.
Yeah.
Do you chalk that up to Midland safety play, or is it a combination of that and what you're just talking about with that? That pressure.
You know, I think, well, pressure is one of them, but also in the last couple of weeks, I've seen an increasing number of broken plays, right? Where guys are just running wide open down the field, and it's obviously a big issue. And you can't underrate the fact that they're missing an All-Pro safety in Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch has been playing for weeks with probably turf toe, and then now ultimately the ruptured Achilles happened. That secondary has been in bad shape. Terrion Arnold's been out. Right now, we're throwing Rock Yassin at people, and he was not even supposed to be starting at the beginning of the year, and now he's getting reps against Justin Jefferson.
Right.
So this stuff is going to happen. And then last week they were slotting back in. You mentioned Devontae Maddox was back in. They're slotting people back in and out.
He looks great.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be able to comment. I'm not certain. Did he look good in the game?
Yeah, I think he had a great game against Cowboy.
Nice. But the thing that was killing me was, and this is one of my other rage points. Lamb goes down, and then they're just throwing to some dude. And listen, like with the way that I follow things, like on the offensive side, on the fantasy side, I don't even know who this guy is behind Pickens. Who is Duvernay? And it wasn't Duvernay. Who the hell was the guy that was catching all those passes and killing them?
From Dallas?
Yeah.
Flournoy?
Yeah. He had 9 catches for $115 and a touchdown. Dude, get the hell out of here. That was driving me crazy. And yeah, it is one of those things. Like you said, I think it's a combination. It's that backfield being banged up and then just not getting pressure. Now, they did have more pressure on Dak, but yeah, old boy had 3 sacks again. Who is the Lions guy? He only gets sacks in threes apparently. Muhammad, yeah. Muhammad, I think had 3 sacks. 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. That's awesome. But yeah, that was the Thanksgiving Day game was frustrating. The Cowboys game was frustrating in part for a lot of reasons. Obviously it was great that they won. It felt good. Always feels good to score 44 points. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm happy to see the Bears lose.
Always happy to see the Bears lose. One final button, and we can close the lid on Thanksgiving, mm-hmm. and we can snap the wishbone. What sucks this year is we got a Christmas Day game too.
Uh-huh.
I kind of would like a year off on Thanksgiving, or non-divisional play.
Yeah.
On the holiday,
have it not mean so much.
Can just get maybe the Titans or the Panthers. I don't care. I don't even care if they lose, but I'd rather lose to the to Duval on Thanksgiving than I would to Green Bay.
Yeah. So, yeah, give me one of these garbage teams that's winning the division. So
they're winning the division at 7 wins, right?
Yeah, give me somebody from the NFC South. You know what I mean? Where first place is at 7 and 6, exactly.
I think we ran the table on NFC South last year.
Man,
we ran them all.
Oh, yeah.
It's just being in the best division, but yeah.
Yes. It does. I agree. It's getting old. And who knows? Maybe 9's heating up again, man. You never know.
9's heating up, and he's going to be the freaking Grinch for us on Christmas Day. He's going to make me eat all my words, as he's taking all of our presents from under the tree.
Hey, do you want me to hit playoff picture real quick, or do you want to go do something else first?
No, we do you want to look at the playoff picture? My brain is not handling this sort of stuff very well.
This is just a quick rundown. Yeah. My favorite thing about the playoff picture was watching the Bears go from the number 1 seed in the NFC down to the 7th seed. The Bears are super catchable for us. They're at a playoff probability of 65% right now. The Lions, I've seen the depending on sites, this is NFL.com. NFL.com has the Lions at 51%, Bears at 65. We do have that Bears game, last game of the season, that is yet to be scheduled time-wise, because maybe they want to flex it. I am hoping that the Bears just crap the bed for the rest of the season. Maybe we only lose one more game, and then that game doesn't even matter. That's what I need to have happen.
Flex it to primetime, and we're 7 of our last primetime games have won.
Oh, it might be.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, the Vikings game on Christmas, they're wearing the black uniforms.
Okay.
Detroit Muscle.
That's right, Detroit Muscle, baby. Detroit Muscle.
Undefeated in those uniforms.
The Vikings game from this year is the one that's killing me, man. I mean, if we win that game, not to go not to go too crazy with it, but I think if Dan was calling plays during that game, I think we win that game, and things would be very, very different, right?
What do you see a new OC after this season?
I think he would like to. I don't think he wants to call plays, and I don't know, and maybe I don't know how he's going to handle it. I don't think he wants to do that, though, because I do think even though as much as he comes off as a knucklehead, like when you listen to him talk about like his leadership stuff, he'll say like, theoretically, if I'm gone, this thing just keeps running. Like that's from a leadership standpoint, like that's his thing.
What you want, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you're delegating, you're empowering the people that work for you, with you. So I think that's the ideal scenario, because a lot of times now a lot of these coaches end up more in like the CEO type role, and obviously he can call plays. You might not love what he does all the time, but I mean they're continuing to use Jahmyr Gibbs as they're continuing to treat him as the most dangerous thing in the NFL. Dan Campbell on 4th down.
Oh, we can't see what Jim's saying because
drop the banner. Let me drop the banner. I can drop the banner. Here we go. Hide. There we go. I love it.
Annie Agar is one of my favorite follows. She's from Michigan, but she's she's a Packers fan. Even the rest of her family is Lions fan, but she's very funny.
That is good, man.
I thought the game felt different against Cowboys. We saw, I mean, a number of field goals. Yeah. I don't think we went for it on 4th down at all.
Yeah.
Zero drops from receivers, right?
Zero drops was a big deal, because I mean those are the things that break your back when you're trying to extend drives. You know what I mean? And then on the receiving side, Gibbs was 7 targets again. I mean that's crazy. Those are big numbers for a running back. 7 catches on 7 targets, so super efficient. 77 yards. No touchdowns in the air. He did make up for that on the ground with 3 on the ground as he just continues to stack. Yeah. But I mean, dude, not only is he juking people out of his shoes, but I'm starting when I'm watching now, I'm like, oh, dude, are we gonna get like the big powerhouse stiff arm? He's throwing guys to the ground. It's not like quite a King Henry thing, right? But the dude runs like a grown man.
Monty has some nice throwdowns. I love. There's some highlights from last season, but they both scored on the ground, and it stands that when they both have a rushing touchdown, the team doesn't lose.
It's one of those crazy stats, man.
I love those little things.
Sure.
No, he's unbelievable. Was it Bland? Who was it that? No, not Bland. What was his name? Number 26 on the Cowboys. Anyways, he threw him right out of bounds with that juke, and then they got the other. they got the other angle of it from the sideline. It's beautiful. You love
Just a crumbled body
yeah,
flying.
down there on the
And then the
ground.
other thing is like the crazy thing is like, these guys are all like, elite 1% athletes. You know what
Right.
I mean? And
Yeah.
so to be roasting people like that is pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, one of the big standouts from that game, just because like I said, I was busy, and I think I was at the Advent thing when I saw that St. Brown was actually playing. And maybe because I actually have him and JMO on one of my teams in the league we're in, and I was kind of banking I'm like, well, at least for fantasy it'll be good because it'll just be JMO getting all the targets, and then Amon Ra's playing, and I'm thinking, well, is he going to be a decoy? What's he doing? And he went out there and just did his thing, man.
Yeah.
The guy's amazing.
Normal game.
Yeah.
One of my highlights from that game was Tom Kennedy. Those those punt returns. He was like a train.
Yeah.
He was wrecking dudes.
Yeah, I mean that was really the most explosive they've looked on special teams, and especially kick return, because Khalif Raymond has had some moments on the punt return, but on the kick return side, and I mean we said a couple of weeks ago, it's like can we please stop getting fullbacks returning kicks for us, or like backup linebackers, or whatever the heck we were doing for a while. Because it's like we don't have anybody more dynamic to put back there, and he was a real spark plug, because I mean their starting field position on so many drives was midfield. It was really, really a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean from that perspective it was a good game. Is the Cowboys a good team though? This is what I think about this. Have we beaten any really good teams? Because when we were in Baltimore, we were throwing our fists in the air and
not wanting to get stabbed, yes,
and jiving, but because it's like, oh, this is the freaking Ravens. They're a Super Bowl contender every year, and after that game, they look very human.
Yeah.
A lot of people use the word regression with Lamar,
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, when you run back through it, we've got wins against the Bears, the Ravens. And again, at that point, we still thought the Ravens were going to be good, but the Ravens have not been what they were. We had the win against the Browns, the Bengals, lose to the Chiefs, beating the Bucks, lose to Vikings. Man, that one still tears my heart out by 3. Beating the Commanders, weird loss to the Eagles, weird win against the Giants, loss to the Packers, win against the Cowboys. So I think this is my response to that is, have they beaten any great teams this year? I think they've beaten some teams that are good. But what I think is weird is what's strange about this season is I don't know if there's any great teams this year. You know what I mean?
Play one.
In
LA.
LA. Okay, yes. So I would say like the outliers on that are the Rams. The Rams are still playing well. They've looked the last couple of weeks, they've had some wonky quarters, some wonky times, some wonky halves. And, I think you can obviously still have that conversation surrounding the Patriots. But the Patriots kind of look like they're riding a heater a little bit too. I think the Packers are quite good. Obviously, we can't beat them. But, beating the Rams this week would be wild. I don't think we will. But it does go back to any given Sunday thing. I'm just hoping for some magic. I don't want logic. I don't want anything reasonable. Stu pulling up the stats here. So this is comparing Rams and Lions.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, two obviously explosive offenses.
Yeah. Honestly, they match up, I think, a little bit more evenly than I think you would thinking about the record.
Sure.
You know,
And I mean, my primary concern is for this game is going to fall on the defensive side of the ball, because one of the things that I think that Matt Stafford is an elite guy. And sometimes when he's an elite passer of the football, and he plays with an elite play caller, and he has Puka Nacua is easy top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Devontae Adams is playing out of his mind, absolutely killing it in the end zone. They're well schemed, and they score points. And Stafford still has, for the guys that are playing football around the time he has, I don't know if there's too many better arm talents out there than him.
no.
And obviously he's a smart dude. I'm not just saying he's an arm talent guy, but what they do on offense is really, really tough. And
look at
hopefully
this
we can get some pressure on this guy on the defensive side. Yeah.
You could see the points that they give up, per game.
Yeah, points per game. That's rough,
they're
man.
Stingy. Yep.
Yeah. They're playing at a really high level on the defensive side of the ball. Absolutely. These are great graphics too, by the way. Thank you. And I mean, again, I'm hoping it's one of those games where you see the matchup ahead of time. You're like, I think the Rams got that. But then you go back in the fourth quarter and you're like, wait, what the hell? The Bills are losing to the Browns. That's the game that I want to see. Stafford, time and time again, man. Look at those numbers: 35 TDs, 4 INTs. The guy really, man, he's electric. It's too bad we could never get it done. It's too bad we could never get it done with that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyron's been interesting because he's been like a little bit more of a grinder this year, and they've been splitting those carries with Corum over there. And Corum, I mean, Corum's really worked his way essentially into a 50-50 split back there. And for a long time, like on the fantasy side, there's a lot of jokes and stuff about like, how many times does Kyron Williams have to fumble before they give somebody else the ball?
Right.
Because guys will take like long shots on taking out somebody like Corum, but obviously McVay and his sculpted little beard, and I guess I can't shame him for the TRT that's coursing through his body, because we both know that it's coursing through Dan's as well. But I think I think the exogenous testosterone is more at home in Dan's body. I think that testosterone gets into that little McVay's body, and it feels like a stranger in a strange land. But yeah, so I don't know, man. It's good. I think it's the toughest game. I think the Rams are a tougher matchup than the Packers. I think that the defense. I think that the Rams' defense is better than the Packers, and I also think that Matt Stafford is pretty head and shoulders a better quarterback than Jordan Love. And again, the scheming element, and also maybe it is just the fact that I don't know if I have hated another coach as much as I have hated who's the little fellow there in Matt LaFleur, when he winked after the game on that bogus timeout thing. When he saw his guy false start, and then he winked after the game. That face is punchable. Okay.
Very punchable.
And also somebody needs to tell him he can't line up his temples and part like that. I don't like it. That's not for him. That's not for him. It's not for him. I would rather see him in capris. I'll tell you that right now. And then that tiny little face of
him from, was it Mike McDaniel with the capri?
Yeah. I'm back and forth with Mike McDaniel. He's had his demons to battle, and so like he's on the straight, and so he's got like real life stuff. So I can kind of, because there's plenty I don't want to like about him too. But yeah.
I know
that. Go ahead.
He's buddies with Dan Soder. I think they grew up together.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So he gets mentioned a lot, by Soder in his podcast.
Oh, that's cool. Soder's funny.
Very
I
funny.
don't know as much of his stuff as I would like, but Soder is funny. So yeah, that's my thought. I don't think the great teams are out there this year, Stu. Obviously the Chiefs are down, the Bills are down. They came back and won last week, but the Bills, oftentimes you look up at the scoreboard this year and they're like, what is going on with that team? There's so many teams that have been awesome that just aren't. The Colts have fallen apart. I think a lot of people figured the hot start, the 7-2 start for the Colts, was probably going to melt away. But they went all in for 2 first-round picks for a little sauce. They want a little sauce on that salad. And
I'm rooting for Carly. I'm not rooting for the Colts. I'm rooting for Carly.
Sure. Did I send you that thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, believe me, I'm not celebrating the Colts eating it, but I mean that stuff happens.
While we're at it,
yes,
why not just dial up Megatron, right?
Yes.
Everybody's got something left in the tank.
Well, because they got old boy coming back too. He's almost our age still.
Yeah, he's
Philip
44.
Rivers.
Yeah.
Philip Rivers.
My favorite. This one was my favorite one. Kind of the similar sort of because I mean, Brock Wright is out, right? Obviously,
yes.
Sam Laporte is out, and they just cut. They just released the other guy.
Yeah, who was that? I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Yeah, it wasn't maybe it was Zylstra. Maybe, I don't know.
There's only one option for this weekend, right?
That's he doesn't even have to say put me in, coach. He can just say put me in, me. Yeah.
I'm going in.
I do love though, like when you see like the hype reels that people will make, and like, listen, Dan Campbell had a great career. You know what I mean? Like,
did he have a great career?
Well, no, but like, okay, like great from the aspect of he played for several years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like he was on the field, like, and now he wasn't a guy that was catching all the touchdowns for it, but like he was like a legitimate NFL player. That's amazing. You know what I mean? That's crazy. But people like he's always had that dog in him. It's always like some
and then
crazy,
just showing like kind of like a normal play where he like blocks a guy downfield and then maybe catches a touchdown.
And then he caught the ball and then fell down.
Yeah, barely gets it across. Oh yeah. I love it.
Yeah. It is always funny. My son was saying to me, he was talking about like these highlight reels for people. And I'm like, he's like, I saw a highlight reel of a guy that isn't even any good. And I'm like, well, son, first of all, like they're all professionals, but two, like you can just, this guy's been in the league for 9 years. Yeah, he's done like 10 awesome things in those 9 years. You slap them together and you got your highlight reel. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Put together a stick at it.
That's right. Get a stick at it and you're good to go, man. You're good to go.
I think to wrap this up, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
This is what Lost Wages thinks going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that all makes sense to me. I think there's probably going to be a lot of points scored. I always end up projecting more. I realize I always end up projecting going above the over. I mean I can see him scoring some points. Gosh, I don't know, man. 5.5 points doesn't seem wrong to me. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be a bucket of points, and I don't know. I think the Lions can win this game. You know,
of course they can. Absolutely,
they can win this game. I think they can figure some stuff out. They're going to have to ask a lot from the Legion of Whom, right?
Well, and again, it's one of those things. I don't think there's, and this is one of the weird things with this year and this season and this team. If they can manage, if they can manage to get into the playoffs, I wouldn't be 100% shocked if they got to the Super Bowl, because I think there's a lot of teams that are just like, I think it's anybody's year, and that's one of the things that makes it hurt even a little bit more. It's like, could we stay a little bit more healthy? Could we have had some better interior O-line play? things like that, because
Mm-hmm.
it was right for the picking, man. Because listen, I mean, the Chiefs are done for the year, which is awesome. I love it. It just seems like it's wide open. It's just get in and then see who's hot. So I don't know. I'm dying that they have that shot.
4 games. I'm looking forward to the Pittsburgh game. Um, Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that I love and hate at the same time. So that'll
Yeah,
be an interesting one.
Yep. Yeah, we can see if they can stack up another season when they're one game above 500. What's their record right now? Let me pull that up.
Yeah.
Steelers. Oh, well, they're not giving me the most effective. Steelers are
7-6.
7-6.
They're just another one of those.
They're right on track. They're right on track, baby.
Think about this division here: Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
Yeah, dude.
Steelers sitting at the top, 7-6. Ravens 6-7. Bengals 4-9.
These garbage divisions, man. And then we're stuck in the one we're in.
Shedeur Sanders out of his mind in that loss.
He was.
To Titans. That's fun. I will say that I definitely root for teams like that are just. It's the same thing with like the Giants. Like, I just like crazy football. Just get wild.
That kid's gonna
guys
get himself killed, though, dude. Dart's gonna get himself killed, and the same thing with Jaden Daniels, dude. I watched that.
Oh, that guy's already like Washington loves destroying talent. It is the place for like exceptional athletes to go to have their careers cut short.
Well, and the sad thing is like, okay, so he throws the interception. And I mean, the first thing I flashed back to was the finable hit that Frankie Louvu put on Jared Goff in the playoffs last year, where he literally put the crown of his helmet into Goff's face mask, and there was no flag. But then Jaden throws this pick, and he didn't get trucked; he got pushed down. Okay, like, I don't even know if you would call it a hit, man. And yes, he fell on that elbow. So my question is, and even as a Commanders fan, you could say, oh, that, you didn't like that he got hit or whatever in that scenario. Take that out of the thing. It was not a big hit. And he went to the ground and landed on that side of his body. That's completely predictable that's going to happen at some point in this game. That's how close he was to re-injuring himself. And I know they said he could have went back in, but it's like, dude, I don't know. These guys are gonna get killed. And Jade and Daniels and Dart, neither of these guys are sliding. They're not starting to. And Dart goes out there with his permed up hair and so touching it and fluffing his hair.
So cool, dude.
Incessantly fluffing his hair.
Yeah.
And then but then saying like he can't do this for long. Like, he's getting plowed, dude. That hit he took on the sideline against the Patriots, it was awesome. It was just a great. If you like watching big hit, it was a big hit. And it was legal. But I mean, these guys got to get down. And I was watching Daniels not get down. You know,
did Daniels throw that ball up for Zach Ertz, or was that a Mariota?
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. That hospital ball that he threw to him.
Hospital ball.
It's a savage.
He wasn't like he wasn't pulling a what's his face? Yes, celebrating on the way. Way in. Like
His
name. I can't think of his name now.
I can't remember it either.
Tyreek Hill.
No, he was not Tyreeking on his way out.
He wasn't God is great, on the way out.
But yeah, what was the thing that we were talking about? Oh, but the guys just aren't sliding. I mean, Jaden Daniels was going head first, even when the first down wasn't in play. It's like, man, you guys are gonna kill your young quarterbacks, man. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. What else we got, man?
Do you think? Well, I'm wondering. and this is kind of a stretch conversation. I'm
Mhm.
wondering when you start looking at drafting, maybe the future after Goff. I mean,
Mm.
he had a big contract extension, but
Mhm.
like, wouldn't it be better to get like a solid guy in that can start learning and grow up like an Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
did? Like, start to build one of those systems where
Yeah.
you know how to grow quarterbacks rather than, oh, we've got one quarterback and then we have to go find, is Teddy Bridgewater still coaching a
Mhm.
high school team? And can we get him, for
Yeah.
a couple of games? And then
Can we get Bridgewater on a jet?
and I think he got rested for something, or he had some issue. I always like Teddy
Yeah.
Bridgewater, so I'm not throwing shade at him. But like,
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
I think it's a great question, and it's one of kind of these. It is kind of one of these team building questions, which I'm always interested in. And so, first of all, do I think that Jared Goff is a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with? Yes. What's his name? Who was the guy that when the Purple Browns won for the first time? Who was their crap quarterback that they won with?
yeah, I
When
know
the
what you're
Ravens
talking about.
first won. You can win with game managers. Okay. Freaking Eli Manning is going to be in the Hall of Fame because he had 2 lucky games playing with the best defense of his generation. Eli Manning is an average quarterback. I'm sorry. Look at his numbers. Okay.
You're thinking
Friend
of
of the
Trent Dilfer?
Trent Dilfer. Yeah. I mean, again, Trent Dilfer's got a ring. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl. Absolutely. Do you have to build a team differently around him than you do with a guy like Lamar? Sure. Yeah. But I mean, you can do that. So when it comes to that quarterback position, I'm definitely a big fan of having the developmental guy behind them. The Lions have struggled to establish that, forever. I don't think we've ever really had a tremendously, or at least like the young quarterback that you're developing that can actually step in and take over.
Besides Joey Harrington, yeah.
Aside from Joey Harrington, And so for me, the way I look at it, I think that pocket passers like Goff have a much longer shelf life. Guys that are, they're smart. They understand offenses. They understand what defenses are doing, and they can get the ball out quickly. Guys like that have an extended shelf life. The guys that make a living with their legs sometimes struggle. Okay, as they age. So like when you watch Cam Newton, I think is a great example. Cam Newton was such a fantastic athlete to watch play that position, but when they lost like the dynamic elite athleticism, because it does go away when they lose that, they hit the wall really, really hard, and that's what happened with Cam Newton. And so I think that a guy like Goff, I mean, Stafford is slinging it at 37. I think Goff is 32, 31 right now.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, legitimately,
Plenty
it
of
does
years
not
in the
shock me.
tank.
Just,
Yeah.
there's plenty of years. I mean, because he has, I don't remember what his extension was, but I think they have him signed at least for another 4 years. So, and maybe it was 5. But I do think you've seen this management group want to make that move before. They tried it with Hendon Hooker, and Hooker obviously didn't do his thing, but it was one of the first moves that they made as an organization, was to sign a developmental guy, a guy that they felt like they could develop. And I say developmental guy because that was the line on Hooker coming out, was that he played in a very simplistic offense in college, and it was going to take him time to adjust to a pro style system. And everything from the type of drops he was doing, and that incorporates the footwork, all that stuff. There was a lot of things that they were going to have to rebuild around this guy. And so they did see him as a longer term project. I wouldn't be shocked to see them do something like this. We do see how expensive these good backup quarterbacks are, whether you're talking about Danny Dimes in Indianapolis, even though he ended up winning the starting job. But somebody who's going to make a bucket of money this year, it was Darnold last year. Mac Jones is going to make a bunch of money this year because he was competent working in that San Francisco system. And so somebody, can say, oh, can we Darnold with this guy? You know what I mean? That is the official term for being a first round bust, and then becoming a competent backup and then a competent starter. That's Darnolding.
Yeah, I've said this before. I love kind of QBs that get rehabilitated, that start out in the bad systems, and
I think that might be part of being a Lions fan. You know what I mean? Because we've seen all the quarterbacks come in and not get it done. And they're like, it would be nice for them to something to work out at some point. But yeah.
There are some we're going to have to, here's an off-season conversation. I'll have to remember this, is talking about guys that were Lions that we don't remember them being Lions.
Yeah. Oh,
Reggie
for sure.
Bush, Dante Culpepper.
Yes. Don Majkowski was another one. Thinking about flashing back, that was mid 80s or early 90s, I think. We are gonna have to do an episode where we do and our history is so ripe with it. We're gonna have to go back and just do, in the off season, we're gonna have to do, like, since we were kids, the quarterback breakdown. Like that one jersey for the Browns where they have like all 42 quarterbacks that have started games in the last 8 years. We're gonna have to run through some stuff.
We can see all the Detmers that had started. Kai and Coy
and Colby. I don't even know. I'm just guessing that's one.
There's plenty of Detmers. Charlie Batch, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Well, we got anything else, man?
No. We'll see.
Do we want to make official calls here? So let's just we could do a game prediction call, or we could do a playoff call. What's your gut tell you? Are the Lions making the playoffs?
What do we say at the very start of this? So this is the perfect way to bookend this. We talked about all the awful things that happened at the Thanksgiving game, and why was it going into that Cowboys game that were just really super doom and gloom? It's because anything that can go wrong seems to go wrong. With this team, especially when they seem like they're building a little momentum, especially on the defensive side of things.
And just a brutal 10-day stretch too.
It was
with the news. I mean, everything was so gross.
I think that the Cowboys win was a big morale booster, and I think that can carry us into probably a good game, and I would not be surprised if they pull off an upset win over the Rams. But I hate to say it, I'm scared of the Packers. Of
course.
Of course, I'm scared of the Browns. I'm scared of the Vikings. Everybody that. I hate, teams.
And I think that the reason that I feel like that fear and that angst rolling into the game is it's been the lack of consistency. You know what I mean? So, the funny thing is that, the Lions are the number one offensive team in the league. That's crazy. And as a fan watching the game, it doesn't feel that way. And maybe there's an element of being spoiled from the crazy offense that we've had the last 2.5 years, right? Well, I guess kind of extending into 3 years now. But it's there's just been the lack of consistency with it. And this is why we continue to extend this never losing 2 games in a row thing. That's great, but you actually want to string some wins together as well.
The Bears, are playing well, and maybe we're seeing the Brad Johnson effect going in there. They put like 300, close to 300 on the ground against Philly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Philly's another weird one where it seems like they're so up and down too. It's so hard to draw conclusions because my gut still is on the Bears. My gut is still more. I think the Bears are more of a 7-6 team than they are a 9-4 team.
I
And
agree.
maybe that's just me being pissy or whatever. And I get it.
I don't think they haven't
I don't think the
beat any good
Bears.
teams.
Yeah, I don't think they're as bad as the loss that they took to the Lions, nor do I think that they're as good as their record right now.
Yeah.
And yes, they've played tough against some tough teams, but it goes back to this point that I'm making that I don't think that there's that many elite teams this year. I think there's a lot of people playing middling football. And yeah, and I think that's kind of an offshoot of it. Nothing would thrill me more than to see the Bears lose 3 of their final games and then just miss it altogether. Especially, and we didn't even talk about Ben Johnson taking his shirt off, bro. I don't like it.
I don't want to
I don't like it.
Why was he kind of like jacked? Like that just isn't. That's not.
Dude, these guys have access to stuff we don't have that we don't have access to, Stu. First of all, maybe willpower, determination, the drugs that go into that. Dude, all these guys, they're all on that stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But he was I don't like, and sure, like I get maybe the players love that, but if there is there are a few things more cornball than a dork acting like a jock. I think that Ben Johnson taking his shirt off was a dork acting like a jock. So anyways.
You think he starts? Never mind. Sometimes these guys forget where they are, right?
Yeah.
And if they're
right,
they're around, around the hot shots, and
yeah, exactly. Like, listen, yeah, like the things that the players do on the field, that's for them. Okay, that's for players to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need my coaches to have swag. You know what I mean? Like, just be like the guy that does the thing. All right.
Does Calvin Shepard have swag?
Calvin Shepard does have swag. Former player, though.
That's true.
Former player.
I think you can participate
more
than like the geeky analytic nerds.
Yes, absolutely.
If you have trees and if you're on your tippy toes during a press conference, or if you're driving around yelling at fans like Nick Sirianni,
I do believe one of my favorite things, and I know some people have been giving Aaron Glenn a lot of crap, but one of my favorite Aaron Glenn moments from this year was he was saying that the call was wrong on the field. He was going to challenge it. If you haven't seen the way he just cast the challenge flag onto the ground,
probably so cool.
You need to see it. You need to see it because it was full of disdain and some flavor. So yeah, it was enjoyable.
So cool. I'm so jealous.
Well, listen, let's wrap up here. We're going to work on schedule. It is the holiday season. Things get wild. Things are wild a little bit on my side as far as scheduling stuff, but we're going to do what we can to be back next week, hopefully breaking down a Rams win. Bro, if they beat the Rams, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself from having a show. I don't know if, maybe that'll be like, we're going to make it work no matter what.
Yeah.
But appreciate seeing everybody in the chat. And we will catch you next time.
All right. Keep waiting.